finally tonight, PF, the Perth International Arts Festival, which is celebrating its 60th year. Today's festival launch was very different. Instead of a nighttime extravaganza, there was music at sunrise on Cottesloe Beach. And it's a new beginning in more ways than one. The celebration also marked the start for the festival's new artistic director, Jonathan Hollaway. Claire Nichols caught up with him earlier.
Jonathan Hollaway, welcome to 7:30 WA.
Thank you.
Have you always been destined for a career in the arts?
I think I probably have. I mean, I just standing in a darkened room with art exhibits and theatre and music has been part of what I've done since I was a kid. So I guess I'm told by my friends that I did try and direct them in pieces of theatre when I was 6 years old. I deny it, but there is a possibility it's true.
And I understand you've continued in the theatre ever since then.
I have. I went and studied theatre. I was in youth theatre, then I studied theatre and directed theatre for a bunch of years, and then ended up at the National in London, where I programmed outdoor work and children's work and directed a major production there, and then moved into festivals.
When did you realise that you could actually make a living in the arts?
Oh, I haven't realised that yet. Can you make a living in the arts? No one. You can nearly make a living in the arts. You can certainly spend your life working in the arts and have a great time. And it's kind of one of those things you do because you, I think, want to make a difference and change things and influence people. But no, it's a great place to do it here in Perth.
How do you become a festival director?
I think you need quite a broad set of skills and experiences. So obviously, having worked as a theatre director, having worked as a programmer, having worked as a manager and producer in a theatre, that's kind of the skill set you need. And then you travel around, you see lots and lots of work, you have an idea. For me, I grew out of stages. I grew out of wanting to put work in front of 1,000 people on a stage and wanting to play with an entire city. And from then on, I just kept ploughing that furrow.
Okay, well, tell us about getting this job in Perth. What did you know about Perth and this festival before you came?
I knew the festival was well loved. I knew that it had huge audiences and was tremendously successful. I knew that Perth was absolutely beautiful, but I'd never been here. I knew the weather was better than where I was living, and there were more beaches. And so the appeal was immediate. But then when I came here, I realised how genuinely passionate the people here were for the arts, and that it's one of the few places in the world that kind of politically and economically has the ability to make that next leap at this moment and really use arts and creativity to take things to the next stage.
So you've been in Western Australia for a year now. What do you make of the state of the arts here?
Oh, I think there's some great potential and there's some great things happening. I think the Fringe is brilliant, and the ballet company and the opera company. I mean, there's so much going on, and the theatre scene here is really strong. I think it has a long way to go. I think it can keep growing. And given just how much support there is and how much support there can be, I think people here really are passionate about the arts. I'm fascinated by the fact that there's a statistic that says more people go to the arts and culture than go to sporting events. But sporting events are very much taken into the culture and psyche of Australia, and people tend to be slower to admit that they go to the theatre and to music.
Do you think there needs to be more money directed towards the arts here?
I think there does, and I think in return the arts has to point out what we can do for people, that we can change the way people perceive the city, that we can change the way and the ability of large companies to attract the next generation of great arts workers and great workers. I think we can make the point that the arts can actually transform how people perceive Western Australia, and in return for that, yes, there probably needs to be a lot more money pushed in.
Okay, so we're standing now poised for 3 weeks of the festival. How are you putting your stamp on something that's been around for 60 years?
I think that makes it easier. I think the idea of a 60-year anniversary is fantastic. I'm particularly thrilled about the Festival Gardens, which is in the cultural centre, right in the centre of the CBD, which will be open every night of the festival and has a great programme.
It must be a difficult balancing act, going with what's worked in the past and not abandoning that. I guess the Festival Garden is a reincarnation of the outdoor venues we've seen over the years. Is it a fine line to stick with what works and then also give it your own flavour?
It is, and I think part of the festival director's job is to come into a place and work out what makes it tick, what makes the people think the way they do, how do they operate in their city. So an event like Home Sweet Home, whereby people can come in and build their own Perth, or Super Night Shot, where the company goes out into the city and explores it, I think it gives us a chance to remap the city and find out what's new about it. And then it's about getting this very specific audiences that are difficult to get. So Beautiful Burnout will sell well, and Propeller the Shakespeare programme will sell to a very specific set of audiences, including young people.
It's the 60th anniversary of the festival. Is it a scary job? Are you nervous about how it's going to go?
Nervous? No. Excited. And I've been thrilled with the way people have responded. And there's an energy around the festival, which you do get at festivals around the world, but I think it happens more here in Perth than anywhere I've experienced. And so now I'm just thrilled that people have allowed me to take on this great, fantastic 60-year-old festival and play with it for a bunch of years.
Jonathan Hollaway, thanks for your time.
Thank you.